Good evening, Facebook, and welcome to Deep Conversations and Transformations. My name is Lynette Gray, and my intention behind these interviews is that everyone involved positively transforms. And tonight I have an incredible guest, Fi Munro. She's an author, a speaker, and a mentor. In 2016, Fi was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer at just the age of 30. Since then, Fi has gone on to train in yoga, reiki, crystal therapy, and she's launched her own business. She's written a book about her journey. Oh, here she is. She's coming on. She can tell you herself. Approve. So I think it's going to work. I came on before and we actually weren't connected as friends. We were just connected on our book, on our pages. Hello.
Hiya.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I was just introducing you. It worked the second time. I started to flap a bit there. I was like, usually it works.
Sorry.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So I just started to tell everyone what all about you, but you'd be the best person to explain you.
Okay.
So your journey with, I was saying that in 2016 you were diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer at just the age of 30.
Yeah, that's right. So in January 2016, I was diagnosed after having several months of the symptoms. And when I was diagnosed, I was told it was stage 4 and that it was incurable, which means that it is terminal. And in the past 3 years, I think I heard a bit of you introducing me. So I've trained as a yoga teacher, a reiki practitioner, crystal therapist. I've written a book and I'm now training to be a shaman as well.
Yeah, that's incredible. And actually the other part that I missed out is you say that you're feeling, or you are healthier and happier than ever before, and that cancer saved your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I was so stressed out before. I had a PhD by the time I was 26. Like, I was just so driven by working on my career. I was commuting to and from work about 4 hours a day. I was absolutely exhausted. Wow. In my spare time, I was like training for marathons and weightlifting. And, it's no wonder I got so sick. I was just so caught up in this societal pursuit of success and all that bullshit. And since cancer, I've just reevaluated everything and just lived an amazing, happy, healthy life.
Yeah, and your book is incredible. So I'm at chapter 5, and this book, honestly, if you're looking for a next read, purchase this book, Love, Light and Mermaid Tales. And the way that you write is just beautiful, and you're so strong. And I've got so much from this book already.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I wanted to share my story and to help other people, because when I was diagnosed, I'm quite an optimistic person. And although I had this kind of dire diagnosis, I was like, do you know what? I'm still alive. I've not died yet. So let's just focus on my dreams and what I can do. But when I was looking online, the only positive people with cancer were people who are like stage 1 or 2. And I always say, well, no wonder they're positive, because they know they're going to live. Yeah. And I couldn't find these kind of later stage people that are positive. So I started blogging, and that's why I wrote the book, to say, like, it's all right to still be positive with a stage 4 diagnosis, and it's all right to not give up and to keep following your dreams. So that's the first edition, and the second edition, which has a new title and a new cover, is coming out the end of this month, which I'm really excited about. Yeah.
And you should be, because this book is not just for anyone who's going through cancer. This book is for anyone that wants to live in the present moment.
Yeah, and that's exactly the message I wanted to get across, that, we're all terminal, actually, that anything can happen at any point, and don't wait for tomorrow to follow your dreams and start living the life you've dreamed of. Like, do it right now.
Yeah, you say a lovely line in the book. I think it was last night I read it. It was, as long as there's breath, there's hope.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, you've just got to go for it and have hope. I've had moments where I didn't think I'd get through, where I thought I would die, and I'm still here. And, more than one moment like that. I've had my heart stop on an operating table. Like, there is always, absolutely always hope.
Yeah. So, like, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like we need to meet for a coffee.
Absolutely, I'd love that.
And I feel like I really want to share this book with everyone. We had a few questions that came through.
Yep.
And somebody asked, like, you're so positive now and you're so inspiring, but was there a point where you felt like giving up? And how did you turn that around and realize that this was actually your purpose?
So from day one, I was pretty positive, actually. I always say
it sounded like that in the book. I know.
that I'm a realistic optimist. So I'm aware of my situation. There's no illusions. I'm not in denial. I talk really openly and honestly with my oncologist and my medical team. But I think like that doesn't mean I can't be positive and live in the moment and enjoy my life, because I think the mistake a lot of people can make is you get a diagnosis like that and you think you're already dead and you just give up and you just wallow, and actually that takes away all the gifts that cancer or any, critical illness can bring you. So I do have moments where I'm sad or I've got like, shock or overwhelmed, but on the whole, I'd say I'm 99% of the time really positive. And that's also doing my yoga trainings really helped with that, about living in the now and meditating and just being really present in the moment. So that really helps kind of reaffirm that positivity as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned also in the book the nocebo effect. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, the nocebo effect.
I'd heard of the placebo effect, but I'd never heard of the nocebo. And you were saying this is the opposite.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how?
So, no.
Yeah, tell me, please.
So, the nocebo. So the placebo effect is, people will have heard of like a placebo tablet. You can take a sugar pill, be told it's going to make you better, and it does make you better. But the nocebo effect is the complete opposite, like you say. So you can be told that you're terminal and you're dying, and you start to believe that to the point that it actually happens. And it's mentioned in loads of health books now. It's coming out more and more research in America where people have been given dire diagnosis in error and then have passed away. And that's, the evidence was showing that it is just that kind of mind-body connection. And I'm so aware of that. I'm so aware of, being positive and living in the moment. And, like yourself, I'd never heard of it before I got unwell, but it was just through all this research I was doing. And it does show the importance of actually always having hope and always believing in the best possible outcome.
Yeah. And I think at the start of the book, you talk about, really trusting your body. And you said that there were signs telling you, or your body was telling you, that things weren't right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, I say like your body whispers to you and then mine obviously starts shouting because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. But, I had all these signs that I was really tired, I was stressed out, I would get angry, I'd be crying after work, I'd fall asleep on the train home and just like saying, oh no, I need to push myself harder like everyone else is doing it. And I think social media plays a massive part in this, of everyone like putting out, their perfect life and not saying, actually, this is really hard and I'm struggling. And so I just kept pushing myself. And then it got to the point where my body was like, enough is enough. And, I ended up with cancer and getting really, really unwell. But I think like we do need to listen to our body, and also I talk a lot about trusting your intuition. So I knew that I had cancer and I knew that I had ovarian cancer, and it's really weird. It was just this inner knowing, and I kept going to the GP and saying, I've got ovarian cancer, and being told, nah, you're crazy. You're way too young to have ovarian cancer. But I just knew it. I just knew it to be fact. And without trusting that instinct and keep pushing, I wouldn't be here today.
And I think that's a great lesson for anyone out there. It's like, slow down, really take some deep breaths and just ask your body even what it needs or what's going on. Because sometimes a conversation with your body, which might sound a bit out there, can really give you some answers though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can be so busy that we don't even just stop and listen. Like even when we think we're relaxing, we're actually watching telly or we're on our phones, and we just never take a moment to just be like, all right, okay, so what's going on? Where am I feeling pain? What is that pain telling me? Have I been short of breath? All of this, because all of us has stuff going on and our bodies are always communicating with us, but it's just stopping and doing nothing and just listening, even for a minute a day, just tuning in.
Yeah. And allowing yourself that time, eh?
Absolutely. Yeah, which we don't. And we do think that we are, taking that time. But it is, like I say, you can be sitting on your phone and people say, well, I don't have time to do nothing. But, you can be on your phone like an hour, 2 hours a day, or watching telly or whatever. And we do all have a minute, 5 minutes a day where we can just stop, breathe and tune in.
Yeah, it's like we think we're immortal or something.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something...
until something like this comes up and you're like, wait a minute, really take every single moment now and appreciate everything about this moment, because we're mortal.
We absolutely are. And that's why, I say the word terminal doesn't stress me out, because actually we're all terminal, and just because I've
Yeah,
got
we are.
stage 4 cancer doesn't mean I'm going to die before someone who doesn't. You know, you could go out and anything could happen, but it's for me just this wake up call to be like, you know, I am mortal. I need to do all those things I wanted to do now. I can't wait till tomorrow. Now's the time.
Yeah. And there was another line in the book, and I've forgotten it, but it was something about being in today and knowing that, oh God, I can't remember. Can you remember?
I know.
It's something about, honestly, everything you've written, there's so many insights. Like each page of the book, I'm like, that's another little insight, another bit of knowledge, wisdom. There's so much of it in that book.
And I think for me, just the main thing is, you know, trusting your instinct, living in the now and following your dreams. And, you know, like I said before, I'd always wanted to be a yoga teacher, but because I'd worked so hard to get this PhD at such a young age, I thought, you know, I've got to go down this path. And maybe one day when I retire, I'll follow my dreams and I'll train in yoga. And actually, I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, let's do it now. And so, you know, I had a massive operation. I had 5 organs removed, and I was told, you know, it could be up to 6 months before you're even able to walk up the stairs. And I had a bit of a kind of, oh, fuck that moment, and thought, this is the time. And so I applied to a yoga school, and they took a risk. They took me on, and I did my training. And it's just been amazing. It's just changed my life. And, you know, the women I met on that course kind of support, because I was still going through treatment at the time. And then since then, running my own business. But it just really taught me there's never an excuse. And actually, if you really want something, if something's your dream, you'll find a way to do it. And I think that's the biggest message for me. And
you said cancer is your guru.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've really read my book. I love it.
I really do I know it better than you?
Yeah, I think so. It absolutely is. You know, it reminds me every day that, you know, I've got to live in the moment. I've got to make the right choices for me. And, you know, that can be just like, today I'm going to lie on the sofa and do nothing. But that's a mindful
and be okay
choice.
With that.
Rather than pushing myself all the time. So it is my guru. And I say that I walk with death now, but actually that's what reminds me to live. And that's not something I'm scared of or something I fear. That's what allows me to live such a vibrant life.
And I think that message is just huge, because so often people are so scared to talk about death, but we must, because we're all going to die.
Yeah, it is like, you know, it's one thing that's guaranteed in life. It is the price we pay for the beautiful lives that we have. And I think especially in our society, we are really fearful of talking about death. And something, you know, with the yoga training and now the shaman training is about, you know, welcoming that in, talking about it is a fact of life, talking about kind of the bigger picture of what that means. And for me, it is, you know, just this reminder to live. And like I said, you know, my heart stopped on an operating table, so I do kind of have that insight, I guess, of mildly experiencing a near-death experience. So that's made me fear it a little bit less as well. And it's just about embracing life. I'm not worrying about dying, because, you know, right now I'm breathing, so, you know, let's just focus on living. So I get really passionate about talking about death.
I'm really passionate about it, because it's our greatest teacher. And I think this is just like, everything you're sharing is just wonderful. And I feel like your story and your journey needs to be shared a lot more.
Thank you. So do I.
So you're training to be a shaman. You need to reach people.
I love it.
You're training to be a shaman.
Yeah, and I absolutely love it. I mean, my first year of training, you know, shamanism wasn't something I'd really encountered. And then in the summer, I took really, really unwell. And in the spring, one of my friends booked me an appointment with a shaman, and I was a bit like, what's this? And I went, I was like, oh my God, where has this been all my life? Like, it was just felt like coming home. I was just like, wow, this is everything I talk about. This is amazing. And then signed up for the training, and it's just changing my life, allowing me to grow and just building those insights that cancer was already giving me, but in ways like just beyond my imagination. It's just phenomenal.
Blowing your mind.
Absolutely, and it's amazing. And my shamanic practitioner, she was in the house doing work on me a couple of weeks ago, and I was saying, you know, she's drumming and singing, and, you know, I was saying, God, me 5 years ago, if you'd said that this would be happening, I'd be like, what, are you mental? But I'm like, this is amazing. So it's just, you just never know what's around the corner in your life, and it's about embracing that and really knowing what kind of gets your heart going and gets you excited and be like, that's what I need to be doing.
I'm all about the heart space. I do
Absolutely.
weekly meditations, and I always bring people into the heart because that's where all the juice is. That's where all the answers lie.
Absolutely. And it's about tuning in and what gets you going, and rather than that, that what stresses you out or what makes you feel down. And that's how I was before, that constant state of stress, closing up and all of this. And now I'm all like,
Yeah.
yeah, let's do this. This is
Open and
amazing.
soft.
Yeah, exactly.
Sharing.
I just love it.
And you're that, I think, when you get into that space, you get more life, but everyone around you gets more life too, because they just feel it off you.
Yeah, when you meet someone that's living their soul's purpose, that's really tuned into what makes their heart sing. And that definitely wasn't me before. I was absolutely miserable, but felt like I should be happy. And I remember saying to my husband,
Yeah.
like, I feel so sad. I was like, but I've got the job and I'm married and I've got the house and, got the good wage. Like, why do I feel sad? I feel so guilty. I feel sad all the time. But actually, it's
Yeah.
because I wasn't doing what I was here to do. And cancer really put me on
Yes.
that path. It was like this massive catapult to be like, this is bullshit. This is where you're meant to be.
Yeah.
Just do it already. And
You're like,
it's just been
listen now.
amazing. Exactly. It was this big kind of like, my body just slapped me across the face and was like, seriously,
Yeah.
I've tried being gentle with you, but let's, like, if it's going to take stage 4 cancer, then that's what you've got. And that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Somebody asked, as a society, what can we all do a bit more of to raise awareness of ovarian cancer, the way that breast cancer is supported? And actually, when I got that question, I was like, that's so true. Like, before speaking to you, I've never spoke to anyone who's had ovarian cancer.
Yeah, I always say like breast cancer is the sexy cancer. Like everyone wants to
Yeah.
talk about their boobs. Like you can get, like it's pink and it's great and you can get out in your
Yeah.
bra. But you start talking about anything like ovaries, womb, people are like, oh, I don't want to talk about that. It makes me feel a bit
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And I was the same. I'd not really heard of it before I got diagnosed. Well, before I started having the symptoms. I talk a lot about the symptoms, but also I think that as a society, it's not just women that need to be aware of them, it's men as well, our partners in
Okay.
particular being
Yeah.
aware of them. So the symptoms are, they're easy to remember. They work with the word teal, so it's toilet habit
Uh-huh.
changes, energy levels drop in, abdominal swelling, and loss of appetite. But ovarian cancer is really commonly misdiagnosed as IBS. So many women have, upset tummies, a lot of bloating, irregular periods, and they just think, oh, it's just part of being a woman, and they ignore it.
Yeah.
And actually, it can be ovarian cancer. Unfortunately, there's no generic test for ovarian cancer, so smear tests don't test for ovarian cancer. So a lot of women think
Or
that
do
they
they
do,
not?
but they don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Okay.
only if you specifically ask for an ovarian cancer blood test that you're going to get diagnosed. But I think it's about people embracing talking about, that part of their body. And not, it's the same with bowel cancer. That's not really talked about.
Yeah.
It's not a sexy cancer either.
No.
There's loads of stigma with lung cancer only affecting people who are smokers, and that's not true. So it is about, talking about all of these cancers and just talking about our bodies in a holistic way, and not being ashamed of our bodies, because I think quite
Yeah.
often we can be ashamed of our bodily functions, and actually they're all the same. We're all humans, and
Yeah.
it's
And we
about
need them to
removing.
flush things out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's for me is the main thing, is about just being open, sharing, talking about your body, and not being ashamed of your body, but just being aware of the
Yeah.
symptoms. And also for me, being really persistent with your GP. So I ended up going weekly until I got diagnosed. And even, a week before I was diagnosed, was being told you're too young to have ovarian cancer, which I now know
Yeah.
isn't the case. I mean, there's people younger than me with ovarian cancer. So it is about, I guess, key points is embracing your body, not being ashamed of it, and standing up for yourself.
Yeah, and trusting
Yeah,
yourself,
absolutely.
what the messages that you're receiving,
Yeah.
trusting them, and just taking it as far as you can go, like you did. You kept going back, you kept going back.
Yeah, just being persistent, because you do know your body. And I'd say 9 times out of 10, we do know what's wrong with our bodies. And it is about listening and standing up for yourself.
And then I've just read the part where you went and had the huge operation.
Yeah. So do you want
Yeah.
me to explain it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I was first diagnosed, I was told that my cancer would be inoperable. And so I started on chemotherapy straight away. and that was to try and manage my symptoms. I was always told it would never cure me. It was just trying to reduce things a bit so that things became more manageable. And then miraculously, 4 months later, they did a scan and my cancer had shrunk enough for me to be approved for surgery. So I had what I believe is the largest operation on a stage 4 cancer patient. So they took a big risk because, you know, by then I was doing yoga daily, I was walking 3 miles a day, I was, you know, really eating really, really well, and they thought that I would be able to manage the operation. So I went up to Aberdeen and I had this operation. It took 12 hours and they removed 5 organs. So they removed my ovaries, my womb, my fallopian tubes, my appendix, my spleen, my omentum. They removed a part of my bowel, so I've got a colostomy bag, part of my liver, part of my diaphragm, part of my pancreas. So massive, massive operation. And I woke up in just like this completely different world. I had an epidural in for 3 days. I was in high dependency, couldn't do anything for myself. So I'd gone overnight from being really, really active to just suddenly being completely dependent on other people. And the healing process was really, really hard because before that, I'd really focused on my physical health. You know, like I say, totally changed my diet, totally changed my lifestyle. But suddenly I had all this emotional pain of being reliant on other people, of not knowing my body anymore. You know, by then I had no hair, I had a colostomy bag, this massive scar. I lost loads of weight. I went down to 42 kilos. I was in absolute agony. And just that for me was almost like this being reborn. It was like coming into myself, because everything I knew about myself had just been stripped away, and all those society things about what we look like or what we can do, I mean, all of that had gone. So it was about rediscovering myself, and that was probably the darkest point in my journey. But it was, like I said earlier, 10 weeks after that I started the yoga training, and that just changed everything for me, because it allowed me to really live in the now, to tune into my body and to tap into who I was underneath all these layers. And that's been amazing, because that stays with me now. You know, obviously I've still got a colostomy bag, I've got loads of scars and my hair's grown back, but just knowing that if you don't like who you are, once all that's gone, like nothing will change that. You've got to do some serious work to love you beneath all these layers. And for me that was a massive gift, because so often it is about, oh, is my hair perfect, or do I have the right outfit, or what do people think about me? But actually, when you get rid of all that, you need to really look inwards at who you are. So, and that's what that surgery allowed me to do. But it was a really hard process, definitely.
Hard lesson. I've just got goosebumps as you tell me all that. Like, you are a warrior.
Wow. I love that word.
You are a warrior.
It does feel that way.
Like incredible. And you said, you know, you were preparing yourself before you went into that operation, because you knew that maybe what's it called? A
colostomy bag.
Colostomy bag was possible. And that was one of the things that you really were scared of. And then you went online and you found all these other people sort of showing off their bags. And I think that gave you some encouragement to think, actually, it's not so bad.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those watching who don't know what a colostomy bag is, it's basically, because they removed part of my bowel, there's now the end of my intestine comes through my abdomen and my waist goes into a bag, and I have to wear that all the time. So, you know, the old me would be like, oh, that's not sexy, I don't like that, all of this. But actually, it saved my life, you know, and I'm really proud of my bag, and I'm proud of what it stands for in terms of how far we've come with medical achievements. Because, you know, before we were able to do this, they'd have had to left the damaged part of my bowel in, which would have left that cancer in my body. And it was, in the hospital afterwards, I remember like 1 o'clock in the morning sitting with a nurse, and we were just looking at photos of models showing off their bags, and you get all different covers for them, like Christmas ones, glittery ones, you know, people just really embracing their bodies. And that's something for me, you know, I love wearing a bikini and be like, yeah, this thing saved my life, this is amazing. And joined online forums, you know, there's little kids with them. And before, I just had no idea what a colostomy bag was. And, you know, statistics show that it's likely that everyone watching this knows somebody with a bag. So they are much more common than you think they are. And you know, now, like when I teach yoga, if people come to me with colostomy bags because they've been scared to go to other yoga classes because they'd have to tell somebody they've got a bag. And,
Yeah.
you know, it is just like, again, that's about embracing your body and our bodily functions. And actually, bags, in particular, people with Crohn's disease, like they can be life-changing and remove so much discomfort, but people are so scared of what other people will think. I think the only
Yeah.
hard thing for me is it's quite often I have to use disabled toilets, and because
Yeah.
I look so well, the amount of judgment and backlash I get from using a disabled toilet. And for me, one of the biggest things is about saying, you know, disabilities aren't always visible. It's not just about being in a
Yeah.
wheelchair. You know, to look at me, you wouldn't think I've got stage 4 cancer, I've had this massive operation, so I've got a
Yes.
colostomy bag, but actually, you know, that is all going on under the surface. So about, you know, moving away from that judgment, and that actually you can look healthy and actually still be disabled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's, I suppose it's just getting into the frame of mind like, oh, well, if they're judging me, they're judging me. But it can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, I even find, so I've got a blue badge for my car, and I'll park my car,
Yeah.
and the look I get, like it is that like looking me up and down, and I'm like, oh, should I walk with a limp?
Should I
Like,
pull my should I pull my bag out?
yeah, like what do I
You could
do?
like
Like, give
flash
me see my
them.
oncology letters? Like, it's just this really, but then I would have judged in the exact same way in the past. You know, if I'd seen a young person pull into a space and got out, I'd be like, who do they think they are parking in a disabled
Yeah.
space? But you actually have no idea. And I think we do put all these judgments on other people, and actually it's about just focusing inwards on ourselves rather than judging other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So up until this point now, you've done so much, but what's been your greatest achievement? What are you most proud of?
Oh, no one's ever asked me that. That's a really hard question.
Oh,
Um,
just go with your heart. Hold your heart and really tune in.
Um, I think, well, I want to instinctively, I want to say the fact I'm still here. So,
Yes, of
yeah,
course.
I think it's about, yeah, my greatest achievement probably is actually just listening to my intuition and, you know, making choices, even in my treatment plan along the way. So, you know, in December last, the year before last now, in December
Yeah.
2017, my cancer came back. I turned down chemo because I knew that it wasn't for me. I'd done a lot of research since having it the first time. I didn't want those toxins in my body. Although I'm not saying anyone should not have it, it's just that's a personal choice, personal
Yeah.
intuition. And I knew that I wanted to get onto an immunotherapy trial, and I knew it was a risk not to have chemo and that I might not survive as long as the trial started. But so
Yeah.
for me, the biggest achievement was actually listening to that intuition and saying, no, this isn't for me. We're doing things my way. And then in September this year, I got on the immunotherapy trial, and the results have been amazing. So I think, yeah, for
Amazing.
me, it was about practicing what I preach and just tuning in and saying, no, this is what my inner guidance is telling me. So yeah, that's my
Yes, Fi.
biggest
Amazing.
biggest achievement. Thanks for
Katie
asking
White.
that.
Katie Whiteman's just said, such an inspiring woman. And it was through Katie Whiteman that I found you randomly.
Oh, thank you, Katie.
And yeah, and so that takes me on to another question that somebody asked. Who is your biggest inspiration?
Okay, so I saw that this question was coming up
Yeah,
on
you were
Instagram, and
prepared
I've
for
been
this
I've
one.
been thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know. So there's, you know, there's now loads of people out there talking about their stage 4 or their late stage cancer. You know, there's people like Sophie Savage, who writes the Cancer Whisperer, absolutely amazing woman. She's a huge inspiration. There's Chris, who set up Copperfield for breast cancer, incredible.
Yeah.
There's Sophie True, who runs the True Fields Festival for people with late stage cancer. But I was trying to think, like, which of these is my inspiration? And I realized that for me, my inspiration is just anyone with a late stage diagnosis who says, fuck that, and just keeps living. Like, it's the
Yes.
individual people out there, the people I meet in the hospital, you know, it's just all those people that are living their path. They all inspire me, because even when I'm having hard days and I'll put online, you know, today's really, really tough, and then all these people messaging like, you can do it, I did this and such. That's what inspires me. It's, you know, the people in the day to day. Absolutely. So yeah, I've
Yeah.
had time to think about that one, but that is who it is. It's just people that are out there living their life.
Yeah. Amazing. So you recorded 2 BBC documentaries.
I did, yeah. So that
Both
I
on your cancer journey.
Yeah, so one was called My Digital Death. So they were interviewing people who were blogging about a terminal diagnosis. And
Yeah.
so they came up to the hospital with me. When I was having my surgery, they followed me around and filmed my recovery. And then I was in A Time to Live, which was about 12 people with stage 4 cancer who had used that diagnosis to propel them into living their life. So both were an amazing
Amazing.
experience, absolutely loved it, and just hearing the stories of the other people involved. And it was a real honour to be filmed in both of them and get my story out in a wider way to a wider audience. And I love, even now I get messages, because for a while A Time to Live was shown on airplanes, so like it'd be like a year later and people were like, oh, I was on holiday and I watched the
Still,
documentary
yeah.
about you, and I was like, oh, I kind of forgot about, that
Amazing.
it's still out there. And that's lovely. And
Yeah.
it's like you said earlier, it's not always people with cancer. It can be people that are just living their life, will just get in touch. And I've had that with my book as well. People, healthy people read my book and quit
Yeah.
their job or leave their partner, or because they've
Wow.
suddenly realized, actually, this is it. This is the only life I have. And I think we kind of forget that in the day to day. We kind of think we've always got tomorrow, or we can, we'll be happy when such and such happens. But actually, if you thought you were going to die next week, what would you change
Yeah.
right now? And that's the message I
Right
want
now.
to get out there. And yeah, so people do read it and make radical changes, and same with the documentaries as well, which is amazing. And kind of I'm always a bit like, I'm just like one person, and it feels a bit overwhelming, but it's lovely that these ripple effects are happening in the world.
Yeah, you're creating a legacy already.
Oh, that's a bit.
So
Yeah.
what would you like your legacy to be?
I think just for people to live their lives and to know that, it's so cliche, like that whole term, like it isn't a dress rehearsal, but it really isn't. Like this is
Yeah.
all we have. And just, it's like if I could go back and tell myself like 10 years ago how different my life would have been if I'd known, that you're not guaranteed tomorrow. And if you're not
Yeah.
happy with your life, it's your choice to change it. It's up to you. So,
Yes.
aside from the cancer, before my husband, I was in an abusive relationship that I left, and that was, a little snippet of, this is my choice to leave.
Yeah.
No one else has put me in this situation. And I think a lot of the time we don't like to take ownership, and we like to, blame the bad hand that we've been dealt. But I think that's
Yes.
nonsense. You have to make the decision to change your life. And so if I can just help, one person to do that, then that's enough of a legacy for me, definitely.
Yeah. It's all about taking responsibility and making better
Absolutely.
choices
Yeah, it really is. And
for
that can be
yourself
hard,
and
but
everyone else. Yeah.
you've got to do it. And when you do it, you set off ripples in the world. Like people see that and they think, well, if you can do it, I can do it. And that's not just like the people blogging there or sharing their story. It's like in the day to day, when you see a friend make a massive change in their life, you're like, wow, I can do that too. And
Yeah.
it's just, that's how you change the world, isn't it? You change yourself, and it's those ripple effects.
Yes. Inner peace then ripples out and creates world peace. I
Exactly.
believe it. So basically, we all need to find inner peace, and then there'll be no war.
Yes. Doesn't it sound so simple?
So simple. Why is it so complicated? Or why do we make it so complicated?
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to share with our audience? I'm trying to see if I've got anything else that came up. I think that was... Oh, somebody asked, sorry. Do you ever struggle to plan ahead, even like by a few months, with given everything that you've been through?
No, 100% not. So I saw
No.
this question come up on Instagram,
Yeah.
and I showed it to my husband, and he just laughed because so in the summer, like I was saying, I was really ill. I was vomiting constantly for 9 weeks. I lost 2 stone, in hospital loads, and really, if I'm being genuinely honest, thought that was it. And instead of giving into that, I signed up for the 2-year shaman training and thought, nah, I need a goal, and that's what I'm going to focus on for the next 2 years. And I started writing the second edition of my book. So for me, planning that's what propels me forward, because I'm like, well, that's too exciting. Like I can't give up now. Like I've got that to do. So no, I absolutely am always setting goals into the future, but enjoying the now, but always having something that I'm aiming for, because at the end of the day, if I die tomorrow, it doesn't matter that I booked onto that course. Like, but if I live, it's like, wow, that's amazing. And I remember when I started my yoga training, people would be like, oh, but Fee, that's a year course, and what are you thinking?
Yeah.
And now I'm like, but that was 18 months ago, and look what's happened. Like, do you know, like 18 months since I qualified, I mean, like, imagine I'd not signed up to the course, how much I would have
Just in
regretted
case.
that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, no, absolutely do it, keep going for it, because you don't know what's going to happen. None of us do. And so, yeah, always plan for the future, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. It's like finding your practice to be mindful in every moment, but
Yeah.
having those goals that are big, hairy, and audacious that
Yeah.
really help you prepare you forward. And also, when you start to achieve these goals, it's the fulfillment that you feel inside that really makes you feel alive.
Well, it just feels amazing. Like so
Yeah.
going back to the yoga, starting that training and thinking, genuinely the end point of that course was past a prognosis that I'd been given. So when I got to that point, it was like that double celebration of, I've fulfilled a dream and I'm still here. Like,
Yes.
that's amazing.
Yes.
And I just like, but we should all have that excitement. Like, we should just go for our dreams and then allow ourselves to feel that pure joy when we achieve them. Because I think we often downplay our goals and we get them and we're like, oh yeah,
Yes.
that was all right. But it's fucking
We've got
amazing
to
when you achieve
celebrate
it.
them. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that propels you to do something else for yourself. And yeah, so always, always set stuff into the future, definitely.
Yeah, and you've mentioned your husband a couple of times. He sounds like a true hero. He
Oh,
sounds lovely in the book.
he's amazing.
Can I order one of him, please?
That's
Does he
probably
have a
why people
brother?
read my book and leave their husbands. But no, he
Yeah, we
is.
want one like that. We need
Yeah,
to
why don't we
upgrade.
have that? No, he is absolutely amazing. I'm so lucky. And I always say that I got the easy deal because it must be so hard to watch the person
Yeah,
you love go through this. I mean, I know
yeah,
how I'm feeling.
yeah.
I know
You're
where my
dealing
mind
with it,
is
eh?
exactly, but
Yeah.
he's watching that. It was him that, when I came out of surgery, 1 o'clock in the morning, he was by my bed, me hooked up to all these machines, watching me on chemo. Literally, he shaved my head when my hair started falling out.
Wow.
He has been there every step of the way, and I genuinely don't know how he does it. And I'm a total pain in the ass. Like I'm, like he's just amazing. I hope he's not watching this because I know like building him up, but no, he is really, really.
No, let's build him up. He deserves to be celebrated. And
Um,
I heard that he calls your stoma your tum hole. I love that.
yeah, he does, and he calls me the ultimate shite bag as well
Oh,
because I have a shite bag. Yeah, he does have a really dark sense of humor, which definitely helps, and I do as well. Like when he shaved my head, he's not had hair since he was like 17 or thereabouts, been shaving his head, and so he
yeah,
said to me, he's like, now we match, and that's just so beautiful. Rather, at the time when I got diagnosed, I had long blonde hair, and rather than like, you don't look like my wife anymore, all these thoughts that are
yeah,
natural to go through someone's mind, he was like, do you know what? Let's just make a joke out of it, and that's been
yeah,
really, really special because I always say like, I'm glad the way it worked out because I don't think I could have been as strong as he's been if it had been him
yeah.
in this situation. I'd have been a nightmare. I'd have micromanaged everything for the poor guy. So he's just been wonderful. I'm lucky. And he's my best friend, which is just really
Oh,
special. You make me cry, but no,
I
he
know.
is.
Don't you make me cry. He'll be crying if he's
I
watching.
know, he's a sweetheart. So yeah, I'm really lucky.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wanted him to be, yeah, I wanted him to be mentioned because I feel like he's been a huge part of this journey and he definitely is in the book a lot,
Yeah, he
which
is.
is
And
so
I
good.
couldn't have done it without him. Absolutely. And you hear all the time relationships, friendships, and partnerships fall apart following a late stage cancer diagnosis. And I can understand that because it's really
Yeah.
tough and you totally change as a person. But he has just been my rock, absolutely. And it has changed our relationship, but in a really beautiful way. And we just really value our time and our quality time together because we know how precious that is and we know
Yeah.
what my diagnosis means. So just having really honest, open conversations. Yeah, it's lovely.
That's amazing. Is there anything else you want to share tonight? Because this interview's been incredible and there's been lots of love hearts coming through, a lot, and a lot of like people saying like, thank you for sharing. It's been so inspiring.
I wanted to share something. So after, I do random acts of kindness, and the reason I want to share them is I just think kindness is such an important thing. So following my diagnosis, not my diagnosis, my surgery, when I was feeling quite low, one of my sisters and her eldest son did fundraising to raise money for target ovarian cancer and to help with cancer awareness, ovarian cancer awareness and treatment, and then money for me and my husband to treat ourselves. So they gave us £500, and I didn't want to use it on myself. I felt like I would then be benefiting from my diagnosis. That made me uncomfortable, and I told her just to give all the money to the charity, and she was like, no, you need to do something. So I was reading The Power of Kindness, which is an amazing book, and I was like, well, being kind like benefits your health. So I was like, I want to do random acts of kindness. So I got these little envelopes, and I got these business cards printed out with the symptoms of ovarian cancer, and I put £20 and these cards in envelopes, and I've been handing them out to strangers ever since, and it's been amazing. So the first one I did was, it was like the first time me and my husband were out following my surgery, and we were sitting in this cafe, and everywhere we looked were people sitting at tables opposite each other but on their phone and not speaking to each other. And I just spent, nearly 2 months in hospital, and I was like, man, just appreciate your life, like appreciate this moment. Why are you on your phone? And then I saw these two women sitting at the table next to us, and they were like, no phone in sight, full of joy, laughing, just such high energy. And I was like, wow, look at, they get it. So as we were leaving, I near like threw an envelope at them, like really nervous, didn't even, I just like literally threw it at their table, scurried away as fast as you can after all that surgery. And thought nothing more of it. But they shared it on social media, and it went viral. Local press picked it up, and they got in touch. And as so I gave them £20, which basically paid for their lunch. And as a thank you, they both did a bungee jump from Macmillan and raised £4,500.
Oh my God!
It was just phenomenal. Incredible. And so I've been handing them out since then. People will make donations. I won Health Blogger of the Year in 2017 and got £600 from that. So that went to the pot. And what I've learned through that is when you're kind to strangers, like these beautiful connections happen, and these ripple effects happen. So I would always write stories about why I handed them out to people, and then they get in touch, and then they tell you a bit about their story, and it's just this beautiful insight. So there was this guy, I gave him one because he reminded me of my granddad who'd passed away. And when he read that on my blog, he started handing out his own envelopes, and he signs them "Love Granddad." And it's just this beautiful, humans are just lovely. And if you were to look at the news, you just think the world was fucked. But actually, on a one-to-one level, we just all want to be kind and have that human connection. And for me, that's been the biggest lesson of just reaching out and connecting with others. And it doesn't have to be money, hold open a door for a stranger, smile at someone who looks sad, buy a cup of coffee for someone in a coffee shop. Like, it's just, these interactions make a massive difference for people. They really do. And I just love hearing the stories. It's just been beautiful. I had a woman chase me down the street just to give me a hug after getting an envelope, in tears. Like, those beautiful moments, like that for me has been absolutely the highlight of my journey, because I never would have done anything like that. And it's just, I just think everyone watching this, just go and do a random act of kindness.
This is
it changes your life. It really does.
It changes your life.
It does. And it's so special. It really is. I love it.
You are so special. Thank you for sharing that.
No, thank you for having me on.
Oh my God. Yes. What an interview. So how do we get your book out to more people? Can you put so I'm going to repost this. Yeah. So if you please repost the links to the book that you can buy off Amazon, that link. If you can post the BBC documentaries, I don't know if you've got the links to them.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, like how to find you, your business page, and anything else that you've got, just post it under here so that everyone following can find you.
Yeah, I'll do that, absolutely. Yeah. And the other thing to say is I'm about to start my book tour, so tickets are going on sale.
Yes.
So, and I'm
but you're not come to Edinburgh.
Well, if you have a venue, I'll come to Edinburgh.
Yes, I do. So there's a place called Cam on Cannon Street, and they do a book club every month. And sometimes we're blessed with having the actual author come to the book club and talk about their book. So I will set you up with Katie, who owns Cam. And I feel like you could come and do a wee talk, or you could share it and get everyone to buy your book. Like, let's make it happen.
I just want to go like where people want me to go. So like, I'm open to people suggesting venues and places. I'm kind of like opening my heart to it. I didn't want to plan it, so I'm only going
Yeah.
where I'm invited, if that makes sense. And that's
Okay.
been really lovely, like just really random invitations to random places. And that's what I wanted,
Yeah.
just to open the intention out to the universe. So I'll be there, definitely.
Trust.
Yes,
Trust.
exactly.
And go. Yes. The universal flow.
Exactly. So
Oh,
yeah,
and share anything else that you feel that people, or that book as well that you mentioned,
the power of kindness.
The Power of
Yeah.
Kindness. Let's share that as well, and we can all get a read of that. But I think your book first is the one to order.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Let's keep in touch, and
Yep.
I'll share this afterwards, and then I'll also put it onto YouTube.
Brilliant.
Okay.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
It's been
Nice
lovely
to meet
speaking
you.
to you.
Thanks for sharing.
Bye-bye.
Thanks to
Bye.
the audience as well for
Thank
tuning
you,
in.
guys. Bye-bye.
Yeah, see you soon. Bye.
Bye.